Hey, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever visited a website or seen someone typing code in a movie? What do software engineers actually do? Software engineering is still one of the fastest growing jobs in the world. I've been writing software since I was 11, and I wanted to talk to you about what I do as a software engineer, so you can decide if it's for you. So here are 5 things I wish I knew that software engineers really do. Number 1, of course, is coding. You'll code anywhere from a couple hours a day to the entire day, either with another engineer known as paired programming or by yourself. Coding involves more than just typing. It involves looking up documentation and research, especially using frameworks like React, Spring, or design libraries like Material UI, and Design, and Tailwind. When you first start programming, you won't have a lot of things committed to memory. You'll need to look things up, and even if you have been coding for a long time, you can't remember everything. Remember that you just have to be a complex problem solver, and you can do this with research. Now, when coding, you'll focus on front-end languages like TypeScript and JavaScript, adding images, making buttons, or building entire applications, for instance, games. And you can do this all in JavaScript. You also code in the backend, languages like Kotlin, Java, or Python, creating custom dependencies, coding microservices, or updating an API. They're all sorts of things that you're responsible for creating or improving if they already exist. When you become a software engineer, you'll be able to focus on the language, and that will determine if you focus on the front end or the back end. It's really up to you to try which one you like more. I'm a full stack developer or product developer, so I focus both on the front and back ends. I work with designers and product managers concerning the user experience and product goals and outcomes. And also, if you want to code games, you can in just about any language. Minecraft was written in Java, and thousands of games were written in JavaScript. When I first started to learn to code, I learned JavaScript, HTML, PHP, and Perl. I started on a Windows 95 computer and stored code on a floppy disk. And then I moved on to other languages like Golang, Java, and Python. I worked on personal projects where I coded games in Java and other languages. The possibilities are limitless. If I did start again today, I would first learn Java or Python. Python is easy to use, it's short, it's easy to get set up on your computer. And Java is great because it's used everywhere. Another tip, regardless of any language you decide to learn about AI. Today, the market for AI is about $100 billion, and it's expected to grow to nearly $2 trillion. So having experience or knowledge on leveraging AI for your organization will definitely help. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to mention Git. Most companies use some version of a version control system to maintain code. So imagine you have multiple authors writing a book. Each time they submitted a change to the book, you would want to make sure that you didn't overwrite the other author's changes. So this is essentially what Git helps with. You can make an account on GitHub for free and use it to keep track of your code while you practice online tutorials. On to number 2. On the list of things I wish I knew, architecture and design patterns are 2 of them. When I first started off as an engineer, I wrote code and got better at it. As I did, I would try to make the code more efficient or easier to work with. That's essentially what design patterns are, a formalized way of improving your code. I wish I knew more about them early on. I don't recommend delving too far into them if you're starting off, but as you continue to grow, it's something to write down on your list of things to learn about, along with AI. Another part of being a software engineer is architecture. In this context, architecture is how systems and programs connect. Whether you're implementing a microservice, using a cloud solution, or a specific technology like Apache Kafka. As a software engineer, you must know how parts of your application interact with the bigger picture. So this brings us to number 3. I got into software engineering hoping to avoid meetings, but there are meetings. Thankfully, there aren't many. Usually there will be daily stand-ups, a couple more weekly meetings. This can cover anything from roadmap reviews to deciding what features to work on. As your skills increase, people will ask for you to draw on your experience. Like, hey, how would you solve this problem? Do you have any recommendations on this? Or just for help on something they're working on? Now, the reason I mention meetings is because it's really your opportunity to help your team. As a software engineer, you'll have a deep understanding of the code and the architecture, how technologies integrate with one another. So meetings are an opportunity for you to kind of shine a light on everything that's happening. That being said, always remember, meetings should be when needed. Otherwise, async communication is more than fine. A publication by Microsoft revealed that inefficient meetings were the #1 reason behind losing productivity, followed by too many meetings. All right, so number 4, communication skills. Being an engineer also means that you will communicate with people, whether through text, online meetings, or in person. At some point, you'll have to speak. Admittedly, it's not as often as other careers, but it's an essential skill to develop. Not everyone has excellent communication skills. Product managers and designers will struggle with communication as well. So this is a big component to software engineering, and that's collaboration. I recommend reading a book or listening to an audiobook by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It has some outdated ideas about mental health, but it offers some great insights and can improve your ability to communicate in the workplace. I often helped other engineers with code, and one of my favorite quotes from the book, to paraphrase, is that no one can be convinced against their will. Instead, all knowledge is realized from within. I'm probably butchering that, but it essentially means that people can learn best when they feel they've discovered the solution themselves. Now, on to number 5. You will work on tools and infrastructure. As a software engineer, some days it may be in Kubernetes, running kubectl commands, creating network policies, and editing deployments. Or you'll find yourself deploying and managing Prometheus, Grafana, Apache Kafka, and Elasticsearch. Admittedly, when you start off as a software engineer, you won't necessarily work with Kubernetes. Or if you're working in a large company, you'll have entire teams dedicated to that. But it can be a great skill to learn early in your career, and an excellent skill if you want to work at a startup. The more you learn about these technologies early on, the better off you'll be as an engineer, because then you can recognize when to use them as a solution to a particular problem. And that's it. As a software engineer, you can see that there are many things you can do to get started. And that's it. As you can see, there are many things you can do as a software engineer. I started off learning several languages, and I'm still learning new ones today. You're constantly learning and growing. Throughout your career, there will be opportunities to learn new technologies and relearn new ones as they evolve. And by the way, I'm launching a Full Stack Academy. Sign up for the newsletter below to get notified when it's ready. It's a great course if you want to get started as a new developer or a mid-level engineer who wants additional practice and to be part of a community. Right, so your day as a software engineer will involve coding anywhere from a few minutes a day to the entire day. You'll make decisions regarding architecture and design patterns. You'll be involved in meetings and will collaborate and work with others. You'll be learning new technologies and implementing cutting-edge ones. If you like working on complex problems, new technologies, interacting with engineers, and working with other disciplines like designers, data scientists, and product managers, then becoming a software engineer is for you. You'll be sought out by everyone and bring value to people everywhere. If that sounds interesting, you're already on the right track by watching this video. So hang in there, keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.